Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of Today's Youth. And today we'll be talking about the Unified Champions for School Programming. And we're delighted to be joined here live at the studio by Lujaine Mohamed and Farah, who will be telling us more about their experience in this program. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lujaine, would you please introduce yourself?
My name is Lujaine Mohamed. I am 24. I studied in University of Harwan. I have been with Special Olympics Egypt for a long time. I play tennis.
You play tennis for a long time, Lujaine. You've been playing tennis for a long time, around 10 years, right? Right. Farah, tell me more about your experience with this program.
So I think my experience with this program is very eye-opening. I've seen a lot and I've gained a lot of experience, a lot of creativity, a lot of life skills that I gained from this program. And it helped me widen my thinking and widen my vision in general.
How do you see the significance of inclusion, Farah? Tell me more about this topic in specific.
So I've been to an inclusive school when I was a kid, and I've seen how much this impacted me on a personal level. So this is what I'm trying to share and to do in my life, and to share knowledge about inclusion and importance of inclusion. I've seen how much that people with intellectual disabilities, they don't have a lot of rights and they're not seen as much and heard. This is what I'm trying to do, as I've seen how much this impacted me on a personal level.
What would you like to tell us about the challenges facing the program?
I think the challenges facing the program is that not a lot of people know about it. And I've seen that a lot of people with intellectual disabilities, they're not aware of it as well. So I think the word of mouth and people knowing it, I think this is the most challenging thing.
You hold different events for unifying people of determination with others in order to have this kind of harmony. Tell me about those events that you hold.
So one of the most events I love is related to sports, especially in schools. So a lot of championships in schools that people with intellectual disabilities and people without intellectual disabilities, they play together sports, a lot of different sports. So this is one of my favorite events. It happened in a lot of schools in Cairo and outside of Cairo as well.
Right. Tell me more about the impact of those events on the students and the people of determination, and both together. How far does it harmonize the relationship between them?
So I've seen students without intellectual disabilities and how much this impacted them. They were very happy, they were very glad. And people with intellectual disabilities as well, they felt like themselves and playing and getting out all their capabilities. So I've seen both sides and I've seen how much this impacted both sides.
Lujaine, tell me, where did you travel with the program?
Berlin.
You went to Berlin, and I think you were the speaker at the conference over there. Right? Maybe Farah, you can tell us about the conference?
Yes, it was amazing. It was in Berlin last June. So me and Lujaine and Dr. Dua, we've been representatives of Egypt, and there was people from all over the world. It was amazing. It was such a great exposure, and a lot of people from different countries. So everyone had their own projects from all over the world, but the main thing or the main purpose for everyone was inclusion.
Right. How do you teach students and the youth and the people of determination how to overcome obstacles, and how do you teach them perseverance to reach their goals?
So in my opinion, my personal opinion, I just let them live life normally like any other person, because they're going to find challenges in their lives and they're going to face a lot of things. So my opinion is just let them be, let them live their life normally, and they'll deal with it. They'll adapt just like any other person. So I think this is my answer to this question.
Right. What are the future plans for the program?
Getting more and more schools involved in our idea of inclusion, getting more people play sports in schools, and raising awareness more and more in schools and especially to students.
How can we raise awareness on these issues? I mean, how do you see the role of the media, for example, and also the social media in this regard?
I think the social media has a very big part in this, and I think people knowing about this is very important, and I think the media has a part in this, especially to raise awareness and to tell people that people with intellectual disabilities, you have rights, you should be seen, you should be heard, you should play whatever you want to play. So I think the media would definitely help in this, so it has a very big part.
What about the role of social media in specific?
I think the part of social media is very important as well, because everyone's on their social media, on their phones most of the time, on their laptops. So I think it's as important as media, because everyone's on their phones all the time, so they need to hear and know about this.
Right. Tell me, what are the main difficulties facing the implementation of this program on the ground?
On the ground, I think one of the biggest implementation things is finding the right timing to do the events, and especially taking into consideration the exams of the students and the perfect timing for everything, and actually advertising for the events before the event. I think those are the most challenges we face.
How do you see the advances we've reached with regards to people of determination here in Egypt in comparison to other countries around the world?
Okay, so I think people here are getting more and more aware and getting to know more about people with intellectual disabilities. I think there's a lot of schools that are becoming more inclusive, and a lot of people that are getting to know people with disabilities more and more every day. I think we have a long shot to take, honestly, but I think we're getting there at some time.
Right. We're going to be having some of your photos here on screen. They will be displayed here on screen if you would like to comment on those photos. And meanwhile, until they prepare the photos, here in Egypt, the Egyptian leadership is giving great attention to people of determination. We've seen a lot being done in this regard. How do you see the significance of this for people of determination and their future?
I think they're part of our society, so people should accept them the way they are, and they're there. So we have to see them and hear them more. So I think this should happen, and people should know more about them, should see them more. So I think this is our main focus.
Right. We have the photos displayed here on screen if you would like to comment.
Yes, Lujaine.
Lujaine, would you like to comment on the photo?
You like this photo?
What does it remind you of, this photo? You remember the incident, the event?
Berlin.
You were in Berlin here for the conference, right? Yes. Okay. You were together, right?
Yes.
Right. So that was the Global Youth Summit in Berlin.
Yes.
Leadership Summit.
Yes.
Right. Right. And here, the previous one, can we go back to the previous one? With the minister?
Yes.
Would you like to comment on this one?
This was in a session. There was a big session. It was in the opening ceremony of the Global Youth Summit. And the minister, he was there and he saw us. He saw a lot of people from the Egyptian team. And it was really nice to see a lot of Egyptian faces there. It was amazing.
Right. Next, please.
This is me and Lujaine. We're talking about our project to people from all over the world. It was amazing. We loved it.
Yeah. And here, the previous one, we didn't comment on the previous one. Okay, this one here, would you like to comment on this one?
Yeah, this was in the same opening ceremony in the Global Youth Leadership Summit.
Okay.
This was a cultural night.
Okay.
Everyone was wearing their cultural clothes. So Lujaine was wearing a Pharaonic Cleopatra costume.
You look amazing, Lujaine, here. It's a beautiful photo for you here.
Thank you.
Representing Egypt.
Yes.
And here?
Yeah, this was in the opening ceremony. They were introducing everyone from all over the world. So this was me, Lujaine, and Dr. Mohamed from Egypt. And it was great to see everyone from all over the world there.
Yeah.
This is our project after we finished talking about it to everyone. And there was a lot of people from all over the world, all over the globe. They really wanted to hear about our project.
Yeah.
And this is when we were done with it. So we're like a smile.
We would also like to know more about the project. I mean, after we finish the pictures,
Yes.
if you would like to tell us more about the objectives of the project.
Yes, for sure.
This
Yeah.
one?
Yes, this was in Berlin. We were having a touristic tour all around Berlin. So we're taking some touristic key pictures.
Next, please.
We had a lot of conference calls, a lot of summits, online summits, to prepare us for the Global Youth Summit as well and for our speech there. So we had a lot of interviews. We had some activities with people from other countries as well.
Right. Next, please. This is a group photo. Lujaine,
Yes.
what would you like to tell us about this photo?
Yes.
You enjoyed?
Yes.
Next, please. Well, those were the photos. Continuing our discussion, we were talking about the Egyptian leadership and the great attention given by Egypt to people of determination. We didn't continue our discussion on this. Would you like to elaborate on this point?
Regarding Egypt?
Yes.
Okay, so I think Egypt I think we have a long shot. We're going there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inclusion happening in some schools. There's a lot of inclusion happening in, especially that there's a rule here in Egypt that provides everyone with disabilities, every corporation or every organization, that at least 1% of the organization, it should be people with different abilities.
Yeah.
So I think this supports people with different abilities a lot.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you very much, Lujaine Mohamed and Farah Wael. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you. And dear viewers, stay with us. We will be back to continue our discussion on the project and its objectives. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and still continuing our discussion on the Unified Champion School programming. We're delighted to be joined here live now at the studio by Samira Al-Adawi. She is Youth Engagement Manager. She will tell us more about her experience. Thank you for joining us, Samira.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tell me more about the project, the Unified Champion School programming, its goals, its objectives. When did it start, and what are the future plans for this very, very important project here in Egypt?
Well, first of all, I want to circle back and just shed light on what Special Olympics is all about, and the core elements of our Unified Champion Schools programming really are sports, because Special Olympics is a sports organization, and also our youth. So having examples, just in this previous session, having Farah and Lujaine speak on their work was truly amazing as the regional lead for our Unified Champion Schools work, and just having them truly represent what we do. They are our future, youth are our future, and they really did an amazing job at explaining what we do. So that's just as a starter. I wanted to shed light on this particular element. But in terms of what our Unified Champion School is, we have currently 4 programs in the region working actively on both the Unified Schools and Unified Champion Schools project.
Yeah.
They are Special Olympics Egypt, Special Olympics Morocco, Special Olympics Lebanon, and Special Olympics UAE. So these are our active 4 programs. Currently, what it entails to become a Unified Champion School, you need to achieve 3 different requirements. So the first and most important requirement is, of course, unified sports. What that means is that we need to involve our students in schools, and they play together with students without intellectual disability, and we bring in Special Olympics athletes to join them so that there is an event on ground within the school so that the students of the school are exposed to our core element of Special Olympics. So that's number one. Number two is youth leadership. What is youth leadership? Exactly what Farah and Lujaine did today, talked about, and what they shed light on. We encourage our youth to engage and participate in different kinds of activities within the school to spread awareness of our work. The third element is whole school engagement, and what that means is when all stakeholders within the school are involved and actively engaged in the work that Special Olympics brings in to the school. So that entails administration, staff members, faculty, families, students. So once we reach all these three components, we can consider the school to become a unified champion school. So that's the overview of what we do.
Yeah. Would you like to tell me more about the Hub of Excellence for the Unified Champions?
So just recently, actually most recently on November 27th, there was a global recognition, a celebration of 6 programs, global programs, of them achieving the title of Hub of Excellence. So in our region, we are very proud of Special Olympics Egypt for having been recognized for this achievement. Special Olympics Egypt has been working now on the Unified Champion Schools work since 2019. We are very, very, very proud of their ability to now be leaders of inclusion, and they will help us through this achievement. They will now be able to help us achieve and expand our Unified Champion Schools work through the region, thanks to their experience that they gained throughout the last 4 years.
Right. Would you tell us how do you see the significance of the inclusion of people of different abilities together with others? How far does this impact their morale and their abilities? And maybe it helps them to advance further and get better?
Of course, our work is very important. This is always something I say and that we all say within everybody that works at Special Olympics, anybody that's experienced Special Olympics, they really realize how important our work is and how impactful it has been to just see how the attitudes of students without intellectual disability once they're exposed to our work. So it's been truly I really like the term that Farah used before eye-opening. A lot of students are not familiar. They don't know how to deal with people with intellectual disability. But once they're exposed through our tool, our main means of inclusion that we use in Special Olympics, sports, they realize it's something that we can all do. And it's so important that students at a young age are exposed to this, because this is the future. We need to all live together, play unified, and just be inclusive of one another.
Right. Would you tell me what are the main challenges facing the project now, and the obstacles that you're trying to overcome, and how can the country help you? I mean, the government and the different entities, what kind of help would you like to seek, or maybe support, I mean, more than help, support from different entities in the society?
Well, it's very important for Special Olympics. I'll take the example of Special Olympics Egypt, because now they are a regional hub of excellence, and they are going to be leaders for the region in this Unified Champion Schools programming. Special Olympics Egypt started this project during COVID time, so it was such an adjustment for them to be able to just get accustomed to finding ways to still be able to reach schools and youth within schools that are keen to pursue the work, although everything was closed because of COVID. And this usually happens, there are 2 ways. First of all, we obviously have the support of the government. This is so important, and Special Olympics Egypt has various different partnerships with government, with different community inclusion partners, with different corporate partners. So these are the people that support mainly on ground when they're trying to implement. But we also really rely on our youth. And like I said, youth are the future, and it's really them that help us overcome all obstacles that we face, because through their experiences, and again, I'm referring back to Farah and Lujaine, they met through Special Olympics. They grew with Special Olympics Egypt. They learned from one another. We learned from them. So it's their experiences that really make us better. They make us improve our programming, and it's really them that help us achieve our goals in our work.
Right. Well, finally, I would like you to tell me what are your future plans and goals for the project.
Well, like I said, we currently have 4 active programs within the region that are working and they're actually growing efficiently, quickly, doing an amazing job. But with this achievement of Special Olympics, we also now have the chance to utilize their gained experience and resources that they were able to establish throughout the years to be able to expand through the region, and hopefully our Unified Champion Schools work will be something that everybody speaks about, because it's truly impactful, and I'm very, very proud to be part of Special Olympics and this particular project because of how impactful it is.
Well, right, and we're also proud to have you with us today, all of you, all the team. Thank you very much for joining us. Samira Al-Adawi, a Youth Engagement Manager, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dear viewers, that's all for today. Don't forget to join us next week, same time. Till then, goodbye.